Hello, I'm here at the North American Bear Center in Ely, Minnesota. We're going to do a walkthrough and there might be a few extras along the way, so why don't you come along with me? Guys, let's take a look around here. They have a lot of taxidermy bears in here as well. A lot of information on the bears that they have in residence, and a lot of just information about bears in general. So let's take a run around here. This is the cub room. Kids can play in here. See how tall people are compared to the bears. So places for the kids to kind of come in and climb around in a little cave here. Let's see what else we can find. We have staff all around here to answer questions, which is really nice. The picture of the staff so you know who we can talk to. They have a nice little gift shop out there. Really nice gift shop. Nadia's with me again today. Living and camping with bears. All of this is all just information. There's a theater. So you can see information, obviously. It was obviously going in. I didn't want to bug them too much. But there's all kinds of things in here. So we're going to have a really good time just kind of going through all of this. So much fun. They have so much information. Wow, that is a big animal. I don't think I've been that close to a taxidermy of a moose before. Those are big animals. So they do have all kinds of local animals. And we do have, looks like a couple little tanks here. There's a wood frog in there. Turtle. And it looks like they have, your local Minnesota fish are in here. So we got a crappie, bullheads, there's a sunfish, a perch. Very cool.
What is this? Bunny, good job, honey. Good job.
Interactive touch screens. And let's see, let's go up to the observation deck and see what we can find up there. Dire wolf. Well, that's cool. Those are big. Can you imagine running into a wolf that size?
I'd be scared.
Yeah, I'd be scared too. They are. All right, let's go up to the bear viewing deck. Oh, there's one right there. Bear viewing deck. Okay. Oh my goodness, guys. Oh, and they got some black bears out here. And I know they're gonna do a feeding in a little bit. Oh my goodness, and they climb around underneath. This is really nice. They have a really nice area here. Really nice area. And as you can see, they kind of get pretty darn close to them when they're up on this rock feeding here. So that's kind of cool. All right, guys, I think that was a quick walkthrough, and now it's time for Nadia and I to do our looky-loo. We'll get back to you in a little bit. We have an enrichment program going on, or starting pretty soon here, so. You can get really close to them. Looks like she's coming around here. Apparently this is Lucky, the 14-year-old male. And the smaller one over there is Holly. It's the bear scale. All right, guys. Catch you up in a few.
Lucky, Holly. Lucky, Holly. Actually, do you want me to take a picture of you and him?
And kind of flying
There's a great hot day.
day.
Bear Center. My name's Rachel, and I'll be leading your guys' tour. Rachel is also going to be feeding, so you're gonna have two Rachels. So when we go out, there's gonna be a line in the dirt. We're just gonna ask that you stay on the far side of the line while we work on the inside. Our females are small enough that they can reach their paws through the fence a little bit. And so sometimes they like to grab at purses or pockets to see if you guys have treats, because they know we carry around these treat pockets or treat pouches, and so they like to investigate and see what people have. If you did lose anything, we could get it back for you, but it wouldn't be in the same condition, so it's kind of best to avoid it all around. The line will keep you about 4 feet away from the fence, so it will keep you out of arm's reach. You can come up to the line, you can step on the line, we just ask that you don't cross over it. Does anybody have an airborne peanut allergy? All right, we do ask because we feed our bears peanuts on the tour, so we want to make sure everyone's comfortable with that. In case that somebody did have an airborne peanut allergy, we could change it out for fruit, so we just want to make sure that everybody is healthy and safe on our tours. Before we go out, does anybody have any questions? All right, so the bears we're going to see today are going to be Tasha and Ted. Right now, Lucky and Holly are out in the main enclosure, so if you guys were here during the enrichment, you did see them. So if you guys want to follow me, we can head on out.
I'm supposed to look something up.
Yeah, Ted was born 1997.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah.
1996. That's 11 days after my birthday.
So this is Woodward. He's the only bear we're allowed to touch on the tour. So if you want to touch him, pet him, give him a hug, you can do whatever you want.
Did you touch her, Mama?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
My video has been transmitted to the website.
Ask that you go. So, I should turn this on. All right, so right here we do have our mound area. It is a part of our 2.5 acre enclosure. We have cameras set up in this area as well as in our pond area. So if you guys are at home and you ever want to see what our bears are up to, you can go to our website, bear.org, and you can watch our live stream cameras from there.
That's cool.
In our 2.5 acre enclosure, we do have a variety of nuts and berries that the bears can forage for. So right now strawberries are coming in season, so they'll be looking for those. There's also hazelnuts and acorns, but those will come into season later. All right, we do not have any bears down here, so we can go up and meet Tasha.
Oh.
All right, so up here we do have Tasha. She is our 6-year-old female, and she is the youngest of our bears here at the Bear Center. Currently, Tasha weighs about 300 pounds. In the wild, female bears will range between typically 90 to 300 pounds, so she's right on that upper mark right now. And this is kind of typical of what you'll see in captivity. Bears in captivity don't have to worry about food, they don't have hard food years, and so they can gain weight a little bit quicker than bears in the wild would. As she's going through these peanuts, you'll see that she's actually able to shove them in her mouth. Bears don't eat the shells because they don't have any nutritional value and they don't taste very good. And so all black bears have a natural adaptation known as a diastema. And this is just a gap in their tooth line right behind the canine tooth. So when they go up and they grab the peanut, they put it in their mouth, they put it right in that diastema area, and they're able to shell the peanut, get the meat out, and then spit out the shell. And we, I believe, recorded it, and they can do it in about 2 seconds. So this natural adaptation works very well for them. We obviously don't have the climate for peanuts up here, so they will naturally do this with acorns and hazelnuts in this area. And then also up here we do have berries that they'll use it with. So if they find a bunch of berries that they want to eat, they can put the berries in their mouth, put the stem of the branch in the diastema area, and strip the berries right off the branch. This leaves the branch intact, and so it can continue to produce fruit in the coming years. Female bears in this area do have a territory that ranges between 6 to 8 miles wide. They are protective of their territories because they have to protect the resources on there for both themselves and their cubs. Male bears, on the other hand, are not protective of their home ranges. Their range is typically between 8 to 15 miles wide, so a little bit bigger than they can patrol and protect on a day-to-day basis. So male bears, their ranges will overlap with that of several of the females and the occasional male. Female bears are pretty cool. Right now our bears are in their mating season, so Tasha here is currently in what we call estrus. And so she's kind of looking for a mate. We do not breed our bears here though because we are not a breeding facility. Bears that are born in captivity have to stay in captivity for the rest of their lives, so we don't want to add to the captive bear population. But when female bears do get pregnant or during mating season, when the egg is fertilized, it actually kind of just sits there in a blastocyst form. Female bears or black bears do what's called delayed implantation. So the blastocyst will just kind of sit there until November, and once November hits, if the female bear has had enough to eat to sustain the pregnancy and get through hibernation, then the egg will implant, and they will give birth in January or February. So their gestational period is only about 3 months long.
Oh, wow.
Female bears do give birth to their cubs during hibernation. And so female bears actually do wake up, they take care of their cubs, they make sure that their cubs are clean, that they're suckling properly. So I don't think they get much sleep during that time period. Once they emerge from the den, cubs start wandering around. Cubs are pretty cool. They kind of have like a natural instinct. They know how to climb trees pretty much straight out of the den. They don't really need anyone to teach them how to climb. Females and cubs will stick together for about 16 to 17 months. And then they will have family breakup. The mom will send their cubs out into the world on their own. And then she will go back and mate with another male. So their reproductive cycle is about 2 years. Does anyone have any questions for Tasha or bears in general? All right, so I can tell you guys a little bit about Tasha's story. Tasha here is from Kentucky, and so she is a Southern girl. She was found on the side of the road. Her mom had been hit by a car. The man who found her grabbed her and took her home and raised her for a while. He had about 50 acres of land that she could roam around on, so he had a pretty good setup for her. But once she got to a certain size, he figured that she was big enough to survive on her own. And so he tried releasing her back into the wild. A couple of weeks went by, and then he heard about a bear that was coming up to people in parks and begging for food. He said said, I bet I know what bear that is. And so he went to the park and called Tasha's name, and Tasha ran and jumped in his truck. The wildlife services had been contacted at that point, and they saw her hop in his truck, so they followed him home. And it is illegal to have bears as pets in Kentucky, so she was confiscated. So the wildlife services took her to a facility, and they ran a couple of tests to see if she could survive on her own in the wild. She was deemed unreleasable because she kept on seeking out human attention. And so her two choices were going to be either euthanasia or finding a forever home. We received word about Tasha back in 2016, and we gave her that forever home here, and we have her ever since. As you look at Tasha, you can see that she has a lot of brown in her fur right now. All of our bears are in the process of shedding their winter coats, and so that brown is actually that long winter coat that is kind of bleaching brown as it gets old and dies off, and then it just falls off her. It takes about 2 to 3 weeks for bears to shed, and so she'll probably be done here within another month or so. When Tasha lives with the man in Kentucky, she was raised alongside a dog for a while, and so she did learn some begging behaviors. When you guys see her clawing at the fence, that's actually one of her begging behaviors. Another one is she'll lean up against the fence and then she'll start rubbing her back. She does this not only for begging, but it also kind of scratches to get the winter coat off. And she does like asking for scratches. We are not allowed to touch her, so we can't give her back scratches. That is something that our head bear keeper is the only one that's allowed to do that. But that doesn't stop her from asking. Yeah?
Has her owner ever visited?
Her owner has not visited, no. I do not know the whole situation with that, but I do know that we are kind of sad that he never actually came up to visit. He did ask that we have her keep her name of Tasha, and so we did respect that. Her name will be Tasha for the rest of her life. So we do rotate our bears in and out of the main enclosure. Tasha here she came back in for breakfast this morning, and we let Lucky and Holly out. Not all of our bears get along, and so we do have to rotate who is in and out of the main enclosure. Lucky is a bit of a problem child, and so he can only go out with Holly because he doesn't like Tasha and he doesn't like Ted. Holly can go out with either Lucky or Tasha, and then when Ted goes out, he just kind of goes out by himself. He is older and he does have arthritis, and his size kind of scares the other bears, so they kind of try to run away from him most of the time. And so we want to make sure that he has a good experience when he goes out to the main enclosure. But if you guys want to come on up, we can go meet Ted. So here it's napping a bit. So he may come up, he may not. Ted here is about 585 pounds right now. So some of you guys watching the videos inside, and you know that in the video, Ted was about 850 pounds. That was when Ted, a year after Ted first got here. We don't actually know how much Ted weighed when he first arrived. We didn't have a scale at that time, but we knew that he was a little bit overweight, so we put him on a diet. He was on that diet for an entire year. Then he went into hibernation. During hibernation, bears will lose between 20 to 40% of their body weight. And when he came out of hibernation, we had that scale, and that's when we found out he weighed 850 pounds. So the current record for the heaviest black bear in the world is currently about 880 pounds. And so we have reason to believe that at one time Ted did have the record for the heaviest black bear. We just didn't have the scale at the time, so we can't prove it. So Ted here is 24 years old, so he's our oldest bear here at the Bear Center. The average lifespan of a bear is between 8 to 21 years old, so he's a little bit above the average. The record for the longest bear living in the wild is currently about 39 years old. And in captivity, there was a bear that lives up to 41 years of age. So we're hoping that Ted will stick around for quite a while longer. Does anyone have any questions for Ted?
Hi, Ted.
So Ted here is a unique bear. He was born and raised in captivity, and that in part does explain why he's a bigger bear. So in the wild, when a male is born, they typically weigh about the size and weight of a stick of butter is how big they are. Ted here, when he was born, was the size and weight of 2 to 3 sticks of butter. Boy, since the day he was born. Bears that are in captivity when they're born in captivity, they do mature faster and they get bigger just because they have that constant food supply. Ted here has never had a hard food year in his life. In the wild, male bears would experience hard food years because they're very dependent on their natural surroundings. So there is that difference there, and that does explain why he got bigger and then all other bears are a little bit smaller. Bears do have a diet that's 90% based on vegetation, and then 10% of that is insects or protein, or animal protein, so most of that is composed of insects. They do like bees' nests, they also like ant colonies. So when you see a bear going for a bee's nest, they're not actually going for the honey in there, they're going for the pupae and larvae within the nest. Bears are pretty smart. They know that white cedar trees contain a natural insect repellent. And so oftentimes, if they're going to go into a bee's nest, they'll go to a cedar tree, strip it, get to the bark, and then put the sap on their nose and the vulnerable parts of their face, and then go to the bee's nest. So that cedar sap actually acts as an insect repellent and then a protection against bee stings.
Nice. Yeah.
Are there any questions? So in the wild, their diet is very seasonal based. So in the spring, it'll be a lot of those fresh greens that are coming up. Bears can digest the fresh greens, but they do not have the complex stomach like a cow has, so they can't really digest the older greens.
Yeah.
But as we get further into the season, right now strawberries are coming into season, so they're going to be going for those berries that are coming in. And then in autumn, it kind of moves to the acorns, hazelnuts, and all the nuts that come into season. Right now, our bears are in what's called normal activity, so they're consuming between like 5,000 to 8,000 calories a day.
Whoa.
As we get further into the season and hit fall, they enter in what's called hyperphagia. And so during hyperphagia, they basically enter into a feeding frenzy because they're trying to pack on those pounds before they go into hibernation. So in that time, they're consuming anywhere between like 15 to 20,000 calories a day. So right now, Ted is at the 585 pounds. When he goes into hibernation, he'll probably be somewhere around the 700-pound mark. Are there any questions for Ted or just black bears in general? Well, if there are no more questions, I can start to wrap things up. First of all, you guys paid an admission price to be here, and we really do appreciate it. All of your money goes directly into feeding and caring for our bears. If you guys like places like this, there is the Wolf Center that's across town. We really recommend checking that out. They do have a wolf pup right now, and they are showing that, I believe, every hour and a half or so. And they are by reservation only, but you can call or book it online ahead of time and get same-day reservations. If you guys use TripAdvisor or anything like that, we'd love it if you'd give us a shout-out or just a review. Just let us know what you thought of the place, what you think we could improve on. Your guys' feedback is really important to us, so just let us know what we could improve on. We'd love to hear it. If you guys took any good pictures, just tag.
Okay, so that was a quick run through of the North American Bear Center, plus the behind the scenes tour. The North American Bear Center is just a couple miles outside of Ely, Minnesota, and it looks like they're open daily from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. It's a really kind of fun place. It's nifty. I enjoyed it. I hope you can stop by and check it out for yourself. Thanks for coming along with me.